Hi, welcome back WeldTube family. My name is David Cediza, pipe welder from El Paso, Texas.
And I'm Luke Lewis, I'm a pipe welder from Brownsville, Texas. Today we're going to be testing out the new WeldTube ClearView HD lens. We're going to be putting it through some tests. We're going to do some low amperage TIG and we're going to do some low amperage TIG pulse.
And I'm going to be testing it out on some 12-inch root pass, looking through the gap. So let's get to it.
Go.
All right guys, so we got my 12-inch pipe here set up. I'm going to be putting in this root pass, looking through the gap, running 1/8 70S6 wire at 85 amps. I got the ClearView HD lens set up on shade 10. I got my sensitivity turned all the way up to 7. And I got the delay turned all the way up to 7 as well. I'm looking through the bevel here, looking through the gap, just kind of bridging my wire over, looking through the gap, making sure my edges are being burnt. Trying to keep my fill even here. And as I'm looking through it, my lens is, it's still all dark. It's not flickering on me. I'm actually kind of out of the way a little bit, and it's still staying dark. Have no issues, no flickering. All right guys, so we got the bottom put in. Lens didn't flicker at all. Looking through the gap, it worked perfectly. So now I'm gonna try just regular backfeeding from here on up all the way to the top. On the outer side, I'm actually walking the cup from my root here. Just keeping a nice, steady, even pace, hitting the bevel edges, making sure they melt in. Just trying to keep my feed rate the same and just keep moving forward. All right guys, as you're trying to do this feeding, looking through the gap, your feeding hand is really important. You do have a lot of stick out into the pipe. You got to be real smooth with your feeding hand. And your torch hand, that needs to be also very steady, making sure you don't dip that tungsten into the puddle. Trying to keep it a little bit ahead, moving it bevel edge to bevel edge, making sure you melt the edges. As long as you can start keeping a nice consistent pace, you can really put a root in like this. The lens is super clear. I've got a lot of definition. I can really see my edges. I can see all the little grind marks, even the little grinding dust I'm sitting on my bevel edges here. And you can see a lot of detail. This lens.
All right, so I'm gonna walk you through our setup right now, starting with the machine using the Dynasty 280. We're actually gonna be using a foot pedal with it to control our amperage. Gonna be using a 3/32 tungsten, number 12 cup. Number 12 cup just for the gas coverage since we're doing stainless. We got 304 stainless, gonna be using 308 1/16 filler. We're gonna do a T-joint, so I'm just gonna tack these on the sides, and then I'm gonna run a bead at 60 amps, see how it does. All right, so because we know we're gonna be using low amps, I'm gonna go ahead and change up the settings I have on my lens. All right, so shade, we're gonna come in, I'm gonna press this button, and you can see the green light moves from 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm gonna have it at 9 since we're just doing 60 amps. Then we're gonna go on sensitivity. I want my sensitivity all the way up, which is kind of hard to see, but it's this row up top, 1 through 7. So right now it's blinking, it's already on 7. So that's the highest sensitivity there is. And delay, we're gonna put the delay about 6. And that means, after the arc ends, it's gonna stay dark for a while and slowly transition back to being a clear lens. It's just easier on the eyes. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tack it. I have the machine at 90 amps just for the tack, just so I can get in quick, make a big puddle, and get out with as little heat input as possible. All right. Keep the gas on it while it cools. Come over, do the opposite side so that it doesn't pull too much to one side. Keep the gas on it while it cools. And go ahead and tack the opposite sides now. And do a tack in the middle. All right, so the point of this test is just testing the sensitivity of the lens. You know, when you're using like traditional auto lenses, when it comes down to small, little TIG, precise TIG, low amperage TIG, sometimes and a lot of times you'll get flickering on it. I know I've experienced it a lot. So we have the sensitivity turned up on this lens. We're gonna run it a bead at 60 amps. No pulse, just 60 amps. Freehand, just dab some beads in, we'll see how it goes. All right, so the first test went well, 60 amps all the way, not a single flicker, really clear. We're gonna move on to our second test, the pulse. Right now on the Dynasty, I've got 7 pulses per second, 95% peak time, 95% peak time, 40% background. Let's see how it runs. All right, so it handled the 60 amp dabs. We just ran pulse, 6 pulses per second, 60 amps. Did great. Now we're gonna run an autogenous speed at even lower amps. We're gonna try around 50 amps, see how it does. All right guys, there you go. We did some low amperage dabs, we did some low amperage pulse, and we even did some low amperage pulse autogenous, like at 50 amps, really low, tiny little bead as you can see, but it did well. All right, there you have it, testing out the WeldTube ClearView HD lens. We put it through a few tests and so far it's done pretty well. What do you think about it, David, looking through the gap?
I mean, I've never been able to look through the gap with an auto lens. I was always a fixed shade guy, but all the other issues before are flickering, and getting flashed and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that with this lens, so.
All right. And if you want a chance to win your own, all you gotta do is drop a comment down in the videos. We're gonna pick a random comment. We'll get a hold of you and we'll send you a free lens.